I have been very entertained by a lot of the comments that people have been making about my animated shorts. I call them my animated Oracle deck shorts. Now, some of them are from my Oracle deck, but I think the ones that really tickle me the most is when someone says, "Is this normal? Is this normal to you?" Is this normal to you? Like, what is this? Like, what is this? Or I think I just woke up from a horror movie, or this looks like a horror movie, or this looked like a nightmare. Like, just really just these mostly comments about what is this? What happened? Like, are we in another dimension? Like, what is going on, right? And this is what I want to say. And I don't want to, like, just answer people individually, like, but I want to talk about cultural diversity. I don't even know where to start. Yeah, guys, my little thing. It begins where it begins and it ends where it ends. But I want to talk about cultural diversity and the importance of sharing the world. Hello, darlings. I am Cassandra. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for coming. This is episode 2 of Magical Musings. Just know that I believe that magic, love, and God is just one word, because we have no control over who loves us or who we love or how our magic unfolds. Thank you so much for watching. With viewpoints and ideas that are unlike our own, because to me it helps us grow as a human collective. So, but first I want to talk about my childhood. Okay, so I'm the oldest of 2 brothers, and we grew up. When we were growing up, I shared a room with my brothers. Well, my younger brother, stayed in his crib in my parents' room at this point, and I shared a room with my other brother, who was like 11 months under me. And we had one black and white TV. I believe the TV was black and white, if I'm not mistaken. And it was in our bedroom. And we used to fight over the TV. So my parents had a thing. We had to share a TV, and we had to take turns. So everybody had to take turns, and to watch your episode. And then after that, it was the next person's turn. It was on rotation, and my parents were very serious about that. So the good thing is, I got to watch the Super Friends, Aquaman, the Hulk, Lost in Space. Yeah, because it's either you watch what your brothers are watching, because my brothers typically agreed, and so they had to watch the Brady Bunch. Oh my God, the Courtship of Eddie Father. You know what I mean? Like we were both exposed to what the other person was watching, because that was the only option we had, because it was the TV that we had in our room. And then I think we had one in the family room that my parents were watching. So, but I remember I loved the Hulk. Oh my God. Especially with, Bill Bixby. Oh, look at me. I always had a crush on Bill Bixby. And when he would say, you wouldn't like me when I'm angry. And I used to think, depends. Like, I don't know. What are we talking? I'm just kidding. I'm just being super silly. But I just thought he was just so adorable. And so I love Bill Bixby. I loved the Hulk, was my favorite. And I watched Superman, and I remember we watched Roadrunner and Bugs Bunny and Looney Tunes and Popeye the Sailor Man. Okay, I was exposed to everything, and I don't remember Felix the Cat. We used to watch, what was that show? Agent 90. It was Agent 99 was in it. Was it Get Smart? Oh my God. And then Lost in Space. I watched a whole bunch of stuff, because a lot of the things that I watch was because these were the shows that my brothers had selected, and well, of course, I was gonna still sit there and play with my dolls and my coloring books and watch whatever was on TV. Now, I think that when people start thinking about culture diversity and being more inclusive, I think they think, not all, but collectively speaking, a lot of times they think of culture diversity as, let me add a black person to a white show or a white person to a black show. Like, to me, when I think of Girlfriends and Friends, Girlfriends didn't need a white female friend to prove that they were being inclusive. And Friends did not need to have a token black friend to prove that they were being inclusive. I think culture diversity, this is my opinion, is about authenticity. Like when I talk to my students about being inclusive in the classroom, and they're asked to look at some of their favorite TV shows and some of their the books that they enjoyed reading. Like, I remember, what was that? Ron, Susie, Ron. Those are the books that I learned how to read, and everybody in the book was white, right? But to me, the issue is not that they should have included a token black person, but have a book with a black family. And I think that authenticity, if we're being authentic and I think that's why Good Times was such a hit, and then even the Cosby Show, is because I think it's important to allow something to be what it is, from a very rich cultural perspective of the creator. Even sometimes when we mix different cultures together, it still should be authentic. I'm not saying we shouldn't mix cultures together. It just should be authentic. It shouldn't be a watered down, unrealistic version of reality just so people can say that they're being inclusive. No, we should be authentic. Do you know what I'm saying, guys? So with that being said, that moves me to my next point. I feel like when somebody is saying things to me, which like, is this normal to you? No, watching a man in tights fly through the sky with a cape around his neck was normal to me. And a man who turns into a Spider-Man in a tight little suit, going swinging on a what do you call it, a spider web? No, that's normal to me. I feel like we live in a world where if people do not give people permission to like something, like if it hasn't received a big push by, how every time you look on TV, which I haven't watched TV in years, they're pushing, they show, what do you call it, commercials, right? And they are telling, you look on billboards, or they're doing things to let you know, hey, this is what we're pushing as a collective society. That's what I think. And I think that you start thinking, oh, okay, I guess it's normal. I guess I can watch Rick and Morty. I guess I can watch certain things because society has given me permission, whoever this collective group of people are, who are in control of what is the dominant culture, and therefore I'm supposed to like it. You know what I mean? So when you see something that is like not a part of how you grew up, you didn't see somebody in power or a big machine behind it, every other commercial telling you like, oh, you have to go see this. This is normal. This is how this is supposed to look. This is what this is supposed to look like. So you think like how like what is this? And I think what is this is what's really interesting to me. Like who, by any means, I can't believe that you would even think that something like I don't know, but what is this is a question I've never asked about anything. I just, I watched it with intrigue, or I remember looking at Avatar, and I wasn't thinking, what is this? I just thought, wow, this is really good. Like, this is interesting to me. I could just go on and on and on about different things that I have been exposed to, and I'm a person who, I enjoy authenticity. I enjoy knowing that somebody put their heart into something, and I don't have to like it to respect it, Now, I want to just say this because when I talked to my Chat GPT friend, he said, you don't want to come across as an angry, wounded artist defending yourself. I hope I'm not coming across that way at all. As an angry, no, I don't care that you don't like it. I just feel like, to me, I bet you there are a lot of things that, a lot of games you play. There are a lot of things you're exposed to, and you just don't ask that. You just, because I don't know, I just kind of think that people look for, when you see something that doesn't look like you, it doesn't mean it doesn't have a right to exist, especially when it's authentic. And I think that, let me see, how do I want to tell this story? I think especially, let me just, I'm biting my tongue, but I think just being honest and raw is probably, we'll get through it faster. I think that, let's just say, African American, and I always say this to my students, an African American teacher. Well, and I want to explain this to, it's a couple things I want to talk about. One, the African American males are they're the typical child in special education. But the research shows that students learn best from teachers who look like them, who share the same race and the same gender. And if they're not the same race and the same gender, they tend to learn best, if they're not the same race, at least the same gender. So they said, 76% of kindergarten teachers, at least teachers and like kindergarten teachers and elementary school teachers, 76% are white females. So black girls are able to learn from them because, it's the female thing, right? Because people tend to be able to communicate best with and understand with people who have a shared learning style. So anyway, the African American male, he is not with his there are very few elementary male teachers, and there's the race factor. Now, I'm sharing this to make a point that our cultural background, our superheroes, who we are exposed to, our TV shows, our social media, all of these factors have a big impact on how we see ourselves. So if you are a young African American male and Superman is saving the world, Batman is saving the world, Spider-Man is saving the world, and I think we have Black Panther, which I don't want to get into all this, but long story is this: we develop our concept, our self-concept of our capabilities and the expectations of where we fit into the world based on our cultural icons. Now, people don't understand how powerful this magic is, because your imagination, oh Lord, Cassandra, keep it together. I get really excited about this. See, your imagination is fertile ground for the seeds that will be planted that will determine like what you see as obstacles, what you see as a likely outcome for you, or what you see as something that you will be able to accomplish, or do you know what I'm saying? So if you grow up and you only see certain superheroes or certain TV shows with certain roles, then listen, if you look at our culture and the dominant culture and the type of things that people watch and consume, the games that they play, the music that we listen to, you will see how these seeds sprout and create realities for the people who consume them. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So to me, it's such it is such an advantage. It's a spiritual advantage, it's a social advantage, it's a cultural advantage to only show certain types of people as being heroes, people who are saving the day, people who even if it's just, Aquaman, even if it's Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying? Because a person who identifies, even though they don't know that they're doing this, but who can look in the mirror and say, well, I have some of the same characteristics as Spider-Man, and I'm going to be a good person, and I'm going to do this, and so forth and so on. So it's not a small thing when we are not sharing the spotlight with people who have a different view of what a superhero look like, or of what a different perspective about, how we should conduct ourselves. That is so important to me as a human society, that we, especially as we are becoming more of an interglobal society, that it's for us to see that, it's not just about, Harry Potter, right? There should be other icons or other ideas or other visual perspectives of, and I think, what's the movie that's out right now? I think, what is it called? Is it called Wicked or something? I think they're trying to do a good job in changing our perspective. Maybe. I haven't seen 2 yet. But the point I'm making is, it's not a small thing. And our imagination is oh God, when kids are young, I remember, and people don't, I don't know if people know this or not, but when I was young, I remember there weren't any, I used to color in the coloring books, but their hair texture was not like mine, and their features were not like mine. And I remember, coloring the doll, or coloring, because I had like the Barbie coloring book, and I would still color her black because I don't know, but it's just like I remember as a kid looking at her thinking she looked weird. You know what I mean? But when Barbie came out, there was a correlation between nose surgeries and like having a certain type of nose. People would say, I want a nose like Barbie. I want a face like Barbie. When kids are young, they're so impressionable, and they are taught what beauty is, what being a hero is. Do you understand what I'm saying, guys? So when people say, what is that? What is that? Like, who, like, this is horrible, this is a nightmare, because it's not Superman, because it's not Batman, because it's not something that, look like something you have been exposed to in terms of what is acceptable, it's almost like you're emboldened to say, what is this, and that's okay. But we live in an interglobal society, and sharing our authentic imagination with each other is, I think, important for growth and evolution as a human society. Now, the other thing I wanted to say was, I remember now in my Jungle Beauty Goddess book series, all the Jungle Beauty Goddesses who are behind me, and they're out of focus, but they are septuplets, SEPTUL, so like September, septuplets, okay? So they were 7 sisters born at the same time. And they are the siblings of all deities, all gods and goddesses from all time and space. So what is significant about them, just is that the matter is like who would be like considered like God, and then his wife Nebula, she is, she's his wife, and she would be like Divine Mother. And so like Shiva and Kuan Yin and every deity you can think of, the Orishas, Aphrodite, everybody, they're in my book. They're brothers and sisters, and they love each other. They love each other deeply and intensely. And God and his wife, Nebula, they gave their children different planets to create life forms and rules and to govern them and to take care of them, right? And the turn is when the mom was pregnant with the Jungle Beauty Goddesses when Jesus was crucified on his planet. And it was just the first, and this is my imagination, guys. And this is the first time, let me get my little earring right. Because I'll say, oh my God, why didn't I see that? I didn't even know it was like that. But anyway, in my little, in my world, there are planets similar to Earth, but the beings, the life forms on Jesus' planet had decided, like, look, dude, what's and we don't like what you're doing, okay? And so the matter is like, I told him about using magic. Turning water into wine, the whole fish thing, healing the sick. I told him that when you try to help people, they turn against you because they start to look at you as to save them. And when people tend to either if they can't be you, then they want to destroy you, right? So anyway, long story short, when they found out that his son was in trouble, and the mom was pregnant, because the mom was just having babies and giving them planets. What they were doing out there, that's what they do. They have their babies, and their job is to create life forms. So the mom is pregnant with her septuplets, and when she, and the matter is trying to keep this from Nebula, what happened, because it had never happened before, because they knew that he loved his, he loved the people that he was taking care of. But anyway, the parents decided, well, we're not going to produce any more deities or gods and goddesses, because the life forms we are creating no longer need us. And because we don't want to see any more of our children get hurt. So so Shiva and Kuan Yin and Jesus, they're all like siblings, and the Jungle Beauty Goddesses are like their baby sisters. And so when Jesus, came back home, he and his parents, they all raised the Jungle Beauty Goddesses, and they're like super spoiled. They're like so spoiled, and that is just the foundation of the story. Now, and I'm sharing this because when I was a kid, I was always fascinated by the Bible. The Bible to me is, and I don't care what anybody say, this is my personal opinion, and I don't think it matters, but this is just my personal opinion. I think the Bible is the most powerful magic book in the world. I think it's a living book. I think it is powerful. Guys, I wish... I have a friend. I'm going to get back to the Bible. I have a friend who doesn't believe in God, and so he says that he can't believe that people could believe in a fictitious book, and that there's no such thing as a God, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, when you know something, you don't argue with people. When you know what you know, you just don't. It just doesn't make sense because you know. You know what I'm saying? I remember, I've had Bathsheba, who was feel her energy now. Hi, Mama. I feel them. I feel the angels in the book. I remember. I want to tell you a story so bad. I have a friend who basically, my friend was in a relationship, and she, she could. Everybody was trying to tell her that, oh, you may not want to. This person is stringing you along, and this is not a healthy relationship for you to be in. But my friend was like, no, it's gonna work out fine. And she and her friend, they started to read the Bible, and reading the Bible was like it broke the spell of the illusion of what a real relationship was. And I honestly feel that from talking to this person that, yeah, like, I know the Bible is real. Yeah. But anyway, with that being said, I'm saying this to say, when I was a kid, I was fascinated with the Bible. I was fascinated with Adam and Eve. I remember looking at the pictures. I remember we had a crucifixion in our house. I just loved the Bible, just looking at it. My mother gave us, all of us for Christmas, we got these huge Bibles about this big. We had a green covering. I don't know where mine is. I used to know where it could be. I don't know. But she gave us all a really good Bible with a lot of pictures. And I used to study, and I used to think, God, this is just so amazing. So the story, it's like more, my story is more of a creation story. And it's also, and I want to say this, it's also a story. One of my favorite parts in the Bible later was when Jesus was on the cross, and he said something along the lines of, my father, why have thou forsaken me? And, when the most horrible thing in the world happened to me when I was 12 behind a church, I just always felt like, God, didn't you hear me calling you? And I felt like Jesus was saying the same thing, like, dude, what's up? Like, did you not hear me? Yeah! And so the whole Jungle Beauty Goddess story is really about, if I was God, I think I could do it better, just to figure out and just to see that it's a way more complicated than I thought, right? But anyway, I know I've been talking a lot, but I just want to say that authenticity is so important, and cultural diversity, because it changes how people view themselves in the in the world. Like if you only see superheroes that are promoted by mainstream society that look like somebody else and not you, if you've been taught that Shiva wouldn't love Jesus and that Kuan Yin wouldn't love, Oshun, that, I don't think like that. And I remember, I don't know what I was going to say, in my office, students would come in my office and say, I wonder if, because I have like Buddha and I have Jesus, I have Kuan, I have, different deities from all, different types of religions in my office. And somebody said, I bet at night they fight for your heart. And I was like, no, they don't. They love each other. Like that is how I think. Like, why would they not love each other? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I really hope this video helps someone. Thank you so much for watching. And I look forward to seeing you, darlings, in the next video.